Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Naso here from the Tropical Video Update page on YouTube with an update exclusively devoted to our very destructive Hurricane Irma, which you can see there going through an eye wall replacement cycle where the inner eye collapses and a new eye takes shape. It's going to have a much larger donut-shaped eye, and it is intensifying a bit. The wind's back up now from 150 to 155, right on the edge of Category 4 and 5 intensity. We're going to watch it continue to move very close, maybe over the north coast of Cuba, and then make that turn north, although the models have once again shifted to the west. Now here's the latest as of 11 a.m., the track, but I do have an update as of 2 p.m. Irma was at 22.0 north, 76.0 west, so it's moved west, but it hasn't moved north at all in the last couple of hours. It's about 380 miles southeast of Miami, Florida, and the wind's again 155 miles per hour, moving west, straight west at 14, 925 millibars. By comparison, when Andrew came into South Florida, it was at 922. So this storm is on a par with Andrew, which devastated Florida back in 1992. You can see the Hurricane Center has it making landfall Sunday morning over the mid-Florida Keys, but again, from Key West all the way back to, say, Fort Lauderdale, you guys are in the direct line of fire here for a potential landfall. You can see the computer models. This was before, after, and now. So the trend has been west. I'll show you that again. You can see where they were about 24 hours ago, 12 hours ago, and now. So the line continues to shift ever so slightly to the west. Now what that means is that the core of the strongest winds, the Category 4 or 5 winds, the dangerous, most dangerous part of the hurricane, might hit one area and spare another. So if it was showing the eye over Miami, now it's showing it more over the mid-Florida Keys. That is a significant difference in the devastation for those areas in particular. So again, you might miss the eye if it wobbles left or right, but regardless, hurricane force winds expected to go up the entire Florida peninsula as Irma pulls northwest. Now here's the European model, and this is the 12Z run from weathernerds.org, appropriately named. You can see it takes Irma right towards the Florida Keys, the core of the strongest winds directly over Key West, Marathon in the right front quadrant. The storm surge would be on the right side where the winds are onshore. It would just be devastating if the European model pans out, and the European model does good with these storms. You can see the H-Worf model as of 6Z takes it right over the middle of the Keys as a Category 4 hurricane on Sunday morning. And that is of a lot of concern, obviously, because there's only one road out, and they're low-lying barrier islands, so if you're in the Keys and you didn't evacuate and this thing hits you as a Category 4 or 5, you're in a lot of trouble. There's the radar out of Cuba. You could see the new eye taking shape much larger than before, very powerful, continuing just north of west, and it's going to scrape right along the coast and then move on out into the Straits of Florida, south of Andros Island, but north of Cuba. But again, it's always possible that the eye wall comes ashore, so Cuba obviously under those hurricane warnings, as well as the entire South Florida peninsula. Look at this thing. Just a devastating buzzsaw, as bad as a hurricane can get, continuing to blow up convection right around the eye wall there as it builds a new eye. It's going to be a large donut-shaped eye, and then that will shrink and contract as it makes its move towards Florida. And you got to remember, the waters are only getting hotter. It's about to move over some of the hottest waters in the Atlantic Basin south of Andros Island here, and the waters around the Keys are very hot. So if it does intensify further tonight, we could be waking up on Saturday morning to another Category 5 hurricane in the Florida Straits. That would be obviously very rare and very devastating. It's happened, but the last time we had a Category 5 hurricane hit the Florida Keys, the only time that we know of, was in 1935. Okay, so you're talking, what, 80, 90 years? Very rare event. I'm also not liking this upper level pattern. You can see it's got a anticyclone sitting almost directly over the top of it, which is only going to make the ventilation of the hurricane more favorable as it moves into the Straits of Florida. So a contracting new eye, good ventilation, hot water, low shear. I'm thinking that this could, at the very least, maintain itself, maybe even, as the Hurricane Center noted this morning, re-intensify a little, which is what it appears to be doing right now. Just a very bad situation. Storm surge, high wind threat, just mass evacuations going on as Irma approaches. We're going to be watching it over the next 2 or 3 days as it makes its move. There's the long-range radar. You can see straight out of Miami the outer bands of Hurricane Irma approaching. All preparations to protect life and property should be rushed to completion. I'm Mike Nasa with the latest on our devastating Hurricane Irma.